There we go. What?
Hey, what? Dragon fellow warriors, or fellow dragon warriors, or fellow war dragons, whatever. Truthfully, doesn't matter. Anyway, it's come to the time where you're getting into Sapphire tier, and you know, the opinions are many, the minds are few. And I originally had a plan. If you'll take a look over here. Now it's going to be upside down, hon. Of using a more simple plan. Put it down.
Thank you.
Here, you can always pause the video on that point of getting Kelvin and Vulcan, whom you should have gotten via Consurgence and Whale, out of the gold sphere, and that would have given you Sekhem. From what I hear, an excellent hunter. Kelvin plus Chrysos is a step that I didn't see in any of the breeding plans. It may be there, but I certainly didn't see it. Gave a pleasant surprise of Kulan and Kaiju for 64k. And then Kelvin and Kaiju will give you Anapa. And once you have Anapa and Sekhem, then you can combine the two into getting the Dragon MEHATEN. Now, camera back to me. MEHATEN was originally part of my game plan, but our club CEO said that he expected greater things from him. And based on the steps involved, it seemed to be the most straightforward path towards getting a Mythic Sapphire dragon. But being that I had more of the hots for MEHATEN, I decided on an alternate plan, which you can actually see if you put it down over here.
Hold up. Go back to the other plan.
Yes. This
That's
is plan one, target for Apophet.
Apophet.
Yes.
Not MEHATEN. This is Apophet's plan.
Yes, I originally did. I said I'm Apophet, yes. So I decided to go for MEHATEN. I mentioned that, huh?
Okay.
Yes, now it becomes a little bit more complicated because you need to have Cthulhu's. But that's easy to backbreed out of Vulcan and Hugin, which gives you 6k. And then once you have Kelvin and Chrysos, this is a step that's common to both these plans. That will give you Kaiju and Kulan for 64k. Once you go to step 3, Cthulhu's plus Kulan will give you Kelvin plus Quetz. And once you have Quetz plus Kelvin, that will give you Champa plus Kaiju, which to me is a more desirable combination than originally just getting, for 125, getting Sekhem. Now go back to the plan for a sec. You'll notice that you get Kaiju earlier on, so at this point when you get Kaiju in the plan, it's an extra platinum egg, but that's not a bad, situation. And here you're also getting Kulan as an extra platinum egg. So from this plan, you're actually getting 2 extra platinum eggs and maybe some lower level ones that are rares, because these are, that's an epic and that's a legendary. Now, once you have Quetz and Kulan, you're going to get Champa and Kaiju. Once you use again Quetz and Kaiju, then you're going to get Garganus. And once you have Garganus plus Champa, then you can get MEHATEN. Now the interesting thing is that this plan is based on a greater variety of dragons, the one for acquiring MEHATEN, while in the Apophet plan, Kelvin is the repeated dragon, with only Sekhem as a variation to Anapa towards the end, towards getting MEHATEN. So there's nothing wrong with this plan. This is a perfectly fine plan, the quickest one for getting into Sapphire. Getting 2 legendaries, there's nothing below legendary in there, they're all legendary or mythic. But for getting Sekhem and Anapa, 2 legendary Sapphire dragons, and then getting a mythic MEHATEN. But for purposes of development later on, from what I understand, Anapa can be backbred, and so can MEHATEN when you're getting the double dragon later on, Aquilus I believe, and there's a second one, I forgot what his name is. But you can actually get Apophet as an extra, and Anapa can be backbred for 12,500. So what's the point of paying 125 now? So this is a trade-off. If you're trying to get into Sapphire quicker with less hassle, yes, you can go for Sekhem, you can go for Anapa, and then you can get Apophet. When you're going to be going into Garnet, however, you will not have as easy a path of development, because how Hesed, not a dragon I'm particularly after, but I will need to get them, and MEHATEN will give you greater possibilities once you're there. So hence me opting for this plan. Now this is actually pretty organized here, relatively speaking. Sorry for the bad handwriting, but I'd compressed it out of all this other information that I'd gotten along the way. Okay? This is not easy to follow, but yes. Like I said, opinions are many, the minds are few. If you'll take a look over here, if you get Apophet, it will give you a possibility of development to Jewel or Renard. If you get How Hesed, it will give you to Ursa or Frost, an excellent dragon, by the way, and MEHATEN will give you Zaur or Avalanche. Avalanche is supposed to be an excellent warrior, not Gloomclaw, but still quite good. And Frostbiter, from what I understand, is going to be like Shade for those of you who actually like the previous, not this past, but the first season's, yeah, the fall season's hunters. And in addition to all of Shade's powers and Crumble to Dust, he also has Cloak. So if this is a Garnet legendary dragon, he's going to kick butt more than Shade ever did. That's Frostbiter. Okay, so again, these are the possibilities. If you go for Apophet, you'll go to Jewel or Renard, Alhesed, Ursa or Frost, Mehatan, Zara, and Avalanche. Again, I opted for Mehatan, even though I would have had an easier time of Apophet. Now, getting back to the plan, the problem with it, or should I say the condition, here, get the camera back down, is that once you're going to get Kulan, he shouldn't be much of a problem because he's an epic. The issue is breeding up Quetz, because he is a legendary platinum and you will need a lot of XP to get him to level 12. I'm already well into the 170s, so my base multiplier is well over 100. If you're going to take 5 times 100 plus 80%, 60% of that, that's already 800,000 for the first run. You know, 600,000 for the second, and for the third one, 600. So I get about 2 million per run, and that's without using 100 or plus 200% multipliers. I will get them up. But again, that's once you're already in the level 170 to 175 range. If you're a 100 player, your base multiplier is going to be closer to 30,000.
No,
so this,
17.
Oh, 17,000. Okay, thank you. I stand corrected. This will not work for you within one breeding. So this is definitely something to consider. This is really a better plan if you have a high base multiplier and you can breed out and level up a legendary platinum to breedable as an intermediary to that. Because again, take down, the target here is Mehatan. The intermediary dragons are Garganus and Champa. Here, the target is Apophet, and the intermediary dragons are Sekhem and Anapa. Anyway, let's go over here. Sorry guys, I know it's a lot of information. I tried to draw up the charts, make some sense out of the bedlam, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Move your thumb. Move your thumb.
Yes, yes, yes. Cha, 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 cha. Okay, breed dragons. Now, if you're going to want to breed Catutheus, the pelagic horror, I can breed Sicornus, but he's still going to be expensive at this point, is the game consistently gives the combination of Vulcan and Hugin, as you saw. That's going to give you the best combination for achieving Catutheus. And if you go back to the lineage, curiously enough, that for getting Krizan, for example, it too gives you that same combination. So one of the side benefits that you get in the process of getting Catutheus for 6k is you get some fragments of Krizan as well. Yippee-ki-yay. Anyway, I already bred a little bit into it. I did some checking, you know, 400 here, 800 there, just to see how many fragments you'd get. And basically this was a good breeding. So one more time. Okay, and as you auto breed, this is what happens. Notice almost all the eggs are going towards Catutheus, which is a good thing. That's predominantly who we're after. But you're also, well, you already have more than, at this point it's going to be more than 1/8 of the eggs, 24 out of 200.
So you said this is going to take 6,000 eggs?
Yep.
Okay, not bad.
Yep, this gave me basically three more into Catutheus, but this took about 6,000 eggs. I still have 290 left, and I have 31 out of 200 for Krizan. Actually, I'm sorry. Haha. Right now we're going to go into the Hinculator.
Ah.
Yep, incubate in the Hinculator. I'm not particularly thrilled about getting Catutheus, but he is a breeder, one that's necessary. I'll have to use speed ups for him.
As always, because we can never wait.
No.
Waiting is not an option.
No, waiting is definitely not an option. Apply, multiple, and he comes out. He looks like one of those stick-back flying kitty dragons.
I call him one of the old men. Him and Tengu look like the old men dragons.
So does Khalid. Actually, no, this one's a little bit, no, this one's not stiff-back. No, no. He looks like Sigurd.
Okay.
He looks like Sigurd, but a different color.
Okay.
Okay. Now, we're going to need to put him into the active roster. Have a seat, hon. We're going to need to put him into the active roster of dragons. Take out Nakura for now. Not a particular favorite of mine, but maybe useful for something else. Okay. Here, you put him in there. Fine. And the next breeding will be for Calvin and Chrysos.
Okay, so that first breeding you did was part Cacutheus, and it was part 1.
Yes.
And this is?
Now we're going for, well, the second step. This is going to be broken down. This is going to be part 1. This is going to be part 2. And, well, maybe this will be part of it. Maybe I'll breed out Garganus in addition to Champa this breeding. Maybe. But I need to be ready for Mehatan the next time because the breedings are coming in about once a month, I say. Right? Okay. So now when we're going for Kaiju, you basically press on Kaiju. Go to cross breeding.
Does it choose this breeding? And what are the dragons?
The dragons are Kelvin and Chrysos. It will give you a pretty good breeding for Kaiju and Kulan. And I'd gotten a few fragments of them as a test run. Let's see how it goes further. Okay, it already gave me one straight out. Auto breed. Okay. Remember, we have about 289,000 eggs. Let's see how much. Yep, you can put this down, or I should hold it.
Put it down. Now you hold this.
How much is going to be by the time we're finished?
This is a good kind of like ratio because you're going to get a number of gold eggs too. You're past gold eggs in your builder's hut, but there's always research to do. And with the research, if you focus on your dragons in your base so that you can do multipliers of things like rage, the +1 rage are really good. You should focus on those in the research, or the super shots of white towers and red towers. Those are in the research area. And
cloak, don't forget cloak to do research, to extend your cloak.
Yeah, the research is something you should really kind of work on doing. It does take eggs, but it definitely ups your base.
I'm being attacked, the fuckers. Look at this. I'm trying to do a video. I'm being attacked. Ha 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 ha.
Well, you know, you're always being attacked, honey, because you usually have a good amount of food in your base.
Yes. I also have such a congenial personality in League Chat.
Yes. So Matron has become notorious.
Okay. Okay, that can work. So is my ghost.
So Miss Ghost. I am a ghost in League Chat. You won't see me in there. Because I'd not like to deal with the
menagerie of assholes, weirdos, sociopaths, and actually a few good people there too.
There are
Ghost truly included.
There are a number. There are good people in the League Chat, but it tends to get a little
hectic,
annoying.
Yes, there's also a contingent of players who claim to be minis for larger level players.
Yes.
And in some cases that might be true, but in some cases they're basically peanut league players, just trying to act like badasses and basically being dicks and trying to hide behind the higher level player that's supposedly really them, you know? Yeah. I think some of the people who probably are truly higher level players are not going to have a compulsion to do this sort of garbage. At least that's what I'd like to believe. I could be wrong, but like I said, there's some good folks in there, and you know, you can find out some interesting things occasionally.
Sometimes. Yeah, I don't like League Chat. I stay with my group, my clan chat.
Let's see how this is doing so far. So we're getting there, 97 out of 200 for Kulan, and we're down to 272. According to approximations, we started with about 289, so we should be down to 230, well, 64,000, it should be at 235. Let's see if we do better. But we're already at 104 out of 200 for Kulan, and we have 126.
And you were talking about maybe putting fragments in an egg.
Yes, but I'm not going to put fragments into these eggs. I could put fragments maybe into Champa, because for me getting Kulan, I mean Kaiju is not going to really be a benefit at that point, because I would have already had him from this step.
Right.
And I was thinking to myself that if the Dragon MEHATEN is 195,000 and he requires 1,000 fragments, and Apophet is 1,000 also, and he requires 200,000, and how Hesed is 195 and they require 1,000. It's actually not profitable to put fragments into them, but if you're getting a dragon that'll cost you 125,000, then putting in 500 fragments into them, which is half of the fragments for the mythic ones, 500 for the legendary, then you're getting a pretty good deal because you're saving 125,000 eggs. In the case of Champa, well, I'll be saving 127,500 because Champa, you know, the breeding for Champa would give you Champa and Kaiju for 127.5. Yes.
So it saved you a good number of eggs.
Yes, good number of eggs.
So you need to really consider
okay, it's still upside down. Why are they doing this to me?
Give it a second to read. Okay.
Yes.
So you need to consider who to put your fragments into, and not just dump them into whatever egg you think is going to be the one you want right then and there. I have done this.
Yes, so have I. That's why I opted to go for MEHATEN instead of Apophet. Like I said, short term, Apophet is easier to get. MEHATEN for me is, you know, he's a very powerful warrior, but more importantly, he'll give you more breeding opportunities. And as I said before, Anapa and MEHATEN can be backbred for far, far cheaper. Apophet can be backbred as part of the deal for the double dragon for 212 or 214,000, but you're going after the dual dragons. Apophet is just a side breeding, and then Anapa can be had for 12,500 instead of 125,000. That's something I've noticed through all the plans: Amoeba, Superman, whatever.
So, very good. Back to our eggs. They are coming along.
Yeah.
How's your egg count going?
It's basically, we're kind of more or less on schedule. I said it was going to take about 64,000. We started with 89, so it should be at 235 by the time we're finished.
Okay.
You know, we basically already have a complete breeding for him, and we're also getting a whole bunch of other
eggs.
Yes, we're also getting a whole bunch of other eggs in the process. Ha 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 ha. Should I incubate Kulan in the meantime?
Sure.
Hold on a sec.
That way you know which one. Because you have to... Is Kulan the one you need to level up?
Well, yes. Kulan will be necessary to the breeding. Kulan will be for Catutheus, for Kelvin, and Quetz.
Okay. So
Kelvin, you already have him. That's the extra platinum eggs. Plus, you're getting some. This isn't a bad breeding because you're also getting a whole lot. You're also getting a whole lot of other platinum eggs, which is not a small matter. They're quite expensive normally. So, incubate eggs. Okay.
Are you going to hatch him?
Yeah. I will be needing him 22 days. Highway robbery, but that's the way it goes.
In the research, there are options to speed up your incubator.
Up to 10%, I think.
I have not taken that. I'm highly considering it, though, seeing some of these longer days. Oh, it's a very pretty dragon.
Yes, that's Kulan, not Kaiju.
Yes. Very pretty. It's very appropriate for spring. Very spring-looking dragon. It is.
Sure, why not?
And this is the beginning of the spring season, so there you go.
Okay, he is a warrior, if I'm not mistaken. And there you go. His starting power is 306,000, which isn't too bad.
Okay.
And now we're going back to breeding. Revenge. Okay. Auto breed. I'll also be getting yet Well, we said we're going to be getting 2 additional ones in the breeding, but this is 2 extra ones that I'm getting in the process right now. Also 2 other legendary platinums. If only I was able to get all 3 of them at once for a shot, huh? No such luck.
But they will be extra platinum eggs. Because you need 4 for your builder hat next, right?
Yes.
I don't even want to think about platinum egg research. We should do a video on research.
Maybe a little later.
Okay.
Let's see how this is going. It's going fairly well. It's kind of on schedule. We're almost at 300 eggs. This is terribly exciting, isn't it?
I know. And just look at the list. There's going to be a lot of egg breedings coming. So there's a lot of sitting and just waiting for your eggs to pop up.
Yep.
If you are someone who likes to go to the casino and push buttons, this could be something you find very fun.
Yeah, especially later on throwing 500 fragments into a dragon. Some people feel that it's wrong to basically throw only fragments. They want to do eggs and fragments. Again, it depends on the combination. If it's giving you more than 1 dragon, then yeah, go with the eggs. If it's just 1 dragon and you want to save on the eggs and it's a particularly expensive breeding, like I said, in the case of getting the legendary sapphires, for 500 fragments you're saving 125,000 eggs. It's a better deal than for 1,000 fragments a dragon that costs 195 to 200,000. So if there's a time to throw fragments in there, I think the appropriate time is actually earlier with the legendaries than with the mythics. But again, you're welcome to do it however you like.
Champa might be our...
Yeah, this is what I was saying, is yeah, Champa seemed to me, because I already have Kaiju, so I won't be getting anything from that. And if I throw it into Champa, I'll save 127,000. Considering how many eggs I have at that point, I'll have enough to breed Garganas, and I'll have a whole shitload of fragments if I want to throw them into MEHATEN. I don't know, I may... Actually, wait a second. Yeah, I'm going to throw the fragments into Champa. I have over 600. And then I'll have more than half the fragments necessary for MEHATEN, plus a few fragments left over.
Yeah.
I'll have over 100 fragments and about 127,000 eggs. So that'll put me like 70% to MEHATEN. By the time the next breeding comes, I will be able to get MEHATEN. Period. No problem. Let's see how this is doing. Ah, almost there. Well, it cost a little bit more than I thought, but what the hell?
How much more?
What did we start at? 289 or
yeah.
289? So it's 230. So it cost 69,000.
And you were thinking 64?
64, yeah. My mistake. It's probably going to be around 70,000. The game's being a prick, but what can you do?
But I think you got more extra eggs than you thought.
Yeah. So it was kind of a trade-off. Yes, it cost like an extra 7,000 or 8,000 eggs, but I also got some extra platinums, which isn't a bad deal.
Because I'm looking at this, you already have 2 golds and 1 platinum, and you had some.
Yeah, I also got the extra platinums here. That's it. Yep, that's it. So basically, we're expecting it to be 234. It was 289. 289. So it should have been, 235, and it's 226, so it cost an extra 9,000, but we also wound up getting a few extra platinum eggs earlier on in the breeding. I was going to get them as redundancies anyway with Kaiju and Kulan later on, but now I also have 2 on top of that, and they're actually 2 platinum legendaries, but you know, they're redundant. But for upgrading the builder hut, you will need it. So, now going into the incubator. "24 days.
So I guess you could wait around a month.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
You don't really need him.
No, I don't.
You always want me to wait.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I like this dragon. I say this looks like an evil sugar glider.
Yes. That's the hulking monster. Kaiju again, perfectly fine beast. And if you just got him or you're in platinum tier, that's the dragon to have for a long time. He was the strongest dragon in the game. I mean, he was like Chrysos of the gold tier, and Chrysos was like Hagen of the green tier. But you have stronger dragons now, and well, you know, time marches on, and so does progress.
As you know, the spring season started today, or yesterday, and you have 4 dragons plus a composite, and we might be doing a video on those dragons.
There's the side dragon too, who's a warrior.
It says demon class on him and also warrior class, so this leads me to wonder, are they creating a 4th class of dragon?
Could be.
It would be interesting.
So guys, stay tuned. But again, we went through the first part of the plan. We bred out Cthulhius. With Kelvin and Chrysos, we bred out Kulan and Kaiju. Now I have to go level them up. And then we're going to be going for the second part, which includes steps 3 and 4, Cthulhius and Kulan, to give me Kelvin and Quetz. And once... actually, I'm not going to level up Kaiju for now. I just need to level up Kulan. Once I get Cthulhius and Kulan, I'll get Kelvin and Quetz, and then Quetz I'll have to level up to get Champa. Once I get Champa, I would have bred my first Sapphire Dragon, and I would have lifted off the caps on all my dragons that have been stuck at level 28 for far longer than they should have. I think since I was like level 133. So yeah, they've been stuck there for about 40 levels. Anyway, Ghost, wave goodbye.
Bye.
I hope this video was helpful. And you have the cat crew over there. Yep. Guys, we'll be seeing you, and take care of yourselves. Enjoy the game. We'll post this on YouTube, and hopefully this was of some use. Again, the lists are available easily here. This is for target MEHATEN plan. Right here, you can slow that down. Vulcan and Hagen, it basically shows you all the steps. And this is for the second plan of getting Apophet. Definitely the easier way to go, but easier isn't always best, or at least not as interesting.
And I might do the Apophet plan because I am a level 109 right now, and that will get me into the Sapphire sphere much
quicker. Yeah, much quicker. Yeah, like I said,
I won't have to worry about the leveling up because my base multiplier is at 17k, whereas
Soma's is at 102. Yeah, so like I said, that's the drawback to my plan. For for more intermediate level players, it will be more difficult. You've been warned, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Informed.
Bye. Guys, take care. Ciao.